Hello, viewers and student friends. Today we are going to deal with another new chapter, that is Playing the English Gentleman by Mahatma Gandhi. So, Playing the English Gentleman is an autobiography or the story of my experiment with truth written by Mahatma Gandhi. So, Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography is one book which guides you as to what is right and wrong. Most importantly, the author should have experienced all these things. So, in his autobiography, Mahatma Gandhi has written his experience and about the what is wrong and what is right in his life, and what are the things he has experienced in his life. He has written in this autobiography. So this originally was written in Gujarati and was later translated into English and other Indian language. This book is in five parts, beginning with his birth up until the year 1921. So in this autobiography, the last chapter he writes is, "My life from this point onwards has been so public that there is hardly anything about it that people do not know." So when a person writes his autobiography, so he expresses what are the things, what are the incidents has happened in his life, and this also plays a very vital role. And after writing this, he says that nothing is hidden from the people. So the introduction reads, "What I want to achieve and what I have been striving and pinning to achieve these 30 years is self-realization, to see God face to face, to attain moksha." So here he is expressing what Gandhi wants to say here is what he has achieved in his life in his 30 years, and he realized that moksha is a very important thing, and he has seen the God face to face, and he tried to see the God face to face. And what is the self-realization? So about within him. So one of the important incidents that he has mentioned here is, "I live and moved and have my being in pursuit of this goal." The paperback edition of the book cost ₹13, being subsidized by Navajivan Trust, Ahmedabad. So these are the minute things what he has expressed or what he has mentioned in his autobiography. So now come to this chapter, that is Playing the English Gentleman. Is a wonderful experience of Mahatma Gandhi, what he has expressed in this story. So this short story, Playing the English Gentleman by Mahatma Gandhi, here we have the theme of identity, acceptance, change, perception and tradition. So this short story is taken from his autobiography, The Story of My Experiment with Truth. The reader realizes after reading the essay that Gandhi may be exploring the theme of identity. So here in this chapter, it is all about the identity, what you are. Because sometimes what happens, so we forget what we are and we try to imitate others and we want to become like that. Here the Gandhi is doing the same thing. What he is, he forgot that, and he wants to imitate, he wants to be like other. That's why it is said about the identity of a person, identity, the acceptance, what he is, he has to accept it. So there is a sense that Gandhi, while a student in England, wishes to fit in with his peer, even though he may live a lifestyle that would be deemed unfamiliar to an English gentleman. So here what happened is that, so the summary of this short story or this essay is such that, so what Gandhi is, he is not being that. he want to imitate an English gentleman, well, like his peer groups. So like his peer groups he is imitating, like his peer groups he want to be like that, but what he is not, he want to behave like that. So being a vegetarian, for an example, his uh, his fellow beings are non-vegetarian, but he is being a vegetarian, he wants to imitate them. But regardless of this, Gandhi does go some way in order to give off the appearance of an English gentleman, going as far as getting dancing lessons, changing his attire, learning the violin, and getting elocution lessons. So here he is trying hard to become an English gentleman. He is not. He is not what he is. So he is trying to imitate the English gentleman. That's why he's learning the dancing lessons, changing his attire, learning the violins, and getting the elocution lessons. So all of this, Gandhi hopes, will help him to fit in with his surroundings and be accepted by others. However, there does come a point when Gandhi realized that he is living a lie, and that is not only fooling himself but also denying his tradition, or the fact that he is an Indian and not an Englishman. So what happened? Gandhi is putting full efforts to be an English gentleman, but here he cannot prove to be an English gentleman. Why? Because Gandhi has to realize that he is living a lie, he is living a dual life. What he is not that, but what he is not, he is want to be that. And not only that, he is fooling himself, and he is not only denying himself, but he is denying the tradition, and he want to be an Indian, not an Englishman. So he want to be an English person, but actually he is an Indian. So what is also interesting about the essay is the fact that the reader is left with a sense that Gandhi may feeling insecure within himself, because he is being in some other atmosphere, he is being in some other environment, so he is feeling insecure but unable to accept who he is, and as such decided to change his very fabric in order to fit in with his peers. So to fit within his friends, to fit within his peer, he wants to change himself, not only through the attire but through physical appearance. But in reality, it is up to others to accept Gandhi as he is, and not the other way another. So not the other way around. Gandhi's peers have an obligation to accept him as he is, though this may not necessarily be how much matter and perceived by others. So here what he wants to, what does Gandhi, his friends has to accept him like that, not the changes what he brought within, physically within himself. Many might believe that in order to be accepted as a peer, which Gandhi wants to be, one must change their lives to how the majority lives theirs. So here what the Gandhi wants to express is that how his peer friends or how his peer groups is living, he also want to adapt that life in the same way. But here one must change their life to how the majority lives their life. He has to change his lifestyle to live like his peer, which is not possible, because the insecurity that Gandhi may feel as a student is not to be confessed, with a deeper insecurity often found and developed in a person since youth. So what Gandhi in his youth want to become like the Englishman, but actual inside him one pure Indian is living. So he has to keep aside that Indian and has to act like an Englishman, which is not possible for a genuine person. So Gandhi simply wants to fit in while living in England. It does not appear as though he is intent on living his life while back in India as an Englishman. So what is the lifestyle what he was living in India was not similar what is the lifestyle he is living in England. Though some critic might think differently, suggesting that Gandhi's insecurity are deeply rooted and he is embarrassed by his appearance when compared to an average Englishman. Obviously, when a person tries or puts an effort to be someone else, so that easily we can find he is obtaining, or we can find it as he is imitating that what the natural person is, which is not coming out. So how a person is naturally behaved, the similarly here a person cannot behave. Why? Because he is imitating his not his own personality, he is trying to be someone else. So if this is the case, then the fact that Gandhi decides against change suggested that he realized he is attempting to be something he is not, and as such, Gandhi is comfortable with his identity. Now he is realizing that what he is, he has to be that, but what he is doing, he's trying to be someone else. So Gandhi is comfortable with his identity. What Gandhi is, he's comfortable, but now he don't want to be an English gentleman. So he want to find his own identity. However, the fact that Gandhi can have concerns about his identity is important, as it suggests that Gandhi may have internal doubts about who he is. Now, here, dear friends, dear viewers, we can find that Gandhi is in doubt within himself, that he wants to know who he is, he wants to know his identity, but it is important as it suggests that Gandhi may have internal doubts about who he is. He is not self-confident. The confidence is shattering. That's why he wants to know who he is. So he is searching for his identity. Though it might be important to again remember that Gandhi overcomes these doubts, are rediscovered who he really is, an Indian man who is studying and living in England. So slowly, as the time goes on, he realized that who he is. He is not an Englishman, he is an Indian who is studying in England. So, as a person who does not necessarily have to change his appearance or how he speaks, the responsibility, as mentioned, is on others to accept Gandhi for who he is. Yes, he is not an English gentleman, he is an Indian. What is necessary? He does not has to change his appearance, how he speaks. The responsibility lies that people has to accept Gandhi who he is, how he is. So whether people do is entirely up to them. Should they not accept Gandhi for who he is, then they are at a loss. The fact that Gandhi learns quickly that dancing is not for him might also be important, as symbolically this could suggest that Gandhi walks his own path. Yes, here, viewers, you can find that Gandhi is trying too hard to learn the lessons, and soon he realized that the fact that he learns quickly that dancing is not his cake walk, he might be important as symbolically that could suggest that Gandhi walks his own path. It is not the dancing, or it is not the learning of violence, or taking the elocution classes. It is what Gandhi is, the society or the peer should accept him like that. So, a path that may make an English gentleman comfortably, as it is contrary to his belief. Similarly, when it comes to speaking and the lesson in elocution. So, when he is taking the elocution classes, is similarly with the way he speaks, because there is an impact of speaking of an Englishman and an Indian person speaking in English. So, there will be a difference. But still, Gandhi wants to learn the elocution classes, but still, he know that he is an Indian. Symbolically, Gandhi could be suggesting that speaking may not be important, but rather the content of one's speech might be more important. So, what is important? Gandhi feels that the content which is important, the content which he speaks, is also more important than the way they speak. So, the end of the essay is also interesting, as there is a sense that though Gandhi might feel as though he has been bitten in his attempt to be an Englishman, so at the end of this essay, he feels that as an Englishman, he's been bitten, he's been backward, but he has rediscovered who he really is. To sometimes, when in times would serve Gandhi well, even if he at the time he could not imagine how it might. So here, no doubt he has failed in an attempt to become an English gentleman, but very soon he really discovered who is Gandhi. Even he at the time he could not imagine how it might. So here, by rejecting the rules of being an English gentleman, Gandhi has not only found his true identity, but he has also learned a valuable lesson. So, in becoming someone else, so here what Gandhi realized, there is someone, a hidden potential man within himself, a true identity of a person which he has learned a valuable lesson. How important it is for a person to be true to themselves, sometime or something that is obvious to readers by the fact that Gandhi gives up all pursuit when it comes to being an English gentleman. So, as the time goes on, as a person, he realized he should be true to himself, which makes, or a person should be true to themselves, which makes them a unique person. That the fact that Gandhi realizes here is that being an English gentleman is not what he really wants to be. He wants to have his own identity. Gandhi is disciplining an honesty, or we can say Gandhi is displaying an honesty that might not, because they wish to fit in with a system that may or may not be right or appropriate for them. So Gandhi is displaying an honesty. Sometimes it may fit others or it may not, but still it is necessary that they need to realize. So some people are naturally suited to be English gentlemen, while others are foolish to try and pursue the role if it means they forgot their true identity. So this is what the chapter is all about. So here Gandhi is searching for its own identity, and he is trying to find that what he is true. and what he is not is trying to be. So here, student friends, there is a brief summary of this essay, Playing the English Gentleman. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe. Do subscribe my channel and meet